everybody. Welcome to the county seat today. I'm your host, Chad Booth. We are at the state capitol today, and we are going to have a conversation about economic development and unique and innovative ways that counties are approaching how to get new business and vitality and economic growth in their counties. Now, to start, we want to start with the economic development component and why a county has an economic development director in the first place, in the basics.
In economic development, there's probably not one single day that is just like the next. And that's one of the things that makes this job so diverse but so important. Economic development is the front lines for business generation, business attraction, and business retention and expansion here locally.
My name is Guy Latender, and I work for Weber State University as the Director of Economic Development. The role was created last year, and to increase the visibility and the role of the university in our community.
So my role as an economic development manager for Davis County is to look at project areas that the cities plan or propose that will have an economic impact in the county. And this is a good example here of the potential of developing property to maximize the land use for job creation. And our vision here is to work with the city to collaborate and attract jobs to this particular development. One of the best parts about my job is to collaborate with the cities and towns in Davis County. Not all of the cities have their own economic development professionals, but those that do, we work very closely with as partners. With a project of this size, of 200 acres plus, we absolutely do collaborate and discuss it with the neighboring counties, because there will be an impact as far as the job creation. But for the most part, the day-to-day and the week-to-week recruitment and planning of this area happens primarily with just the county and the local city.
So I'm Stuart Clayson. I'm with the Utah Association of Counties. I recently moved over to UAC from the Director of Regional Economic Development position at Salt Lake County. And we're taking some of the lessons that we learned at Salt Lake County in terms of what the role of a county economic development office is, and we're partnering with counties throughout the state to help them either build a program from the ground up or support existing programs like they have here in Weber County.
The employees are going to live all along the Wasatch Front. We've seen that as we've studied traffic patterns and the way people commute, even between Davis and Weber County, and as they commute from Salt Lake to Brigham and Box Elder counties as well. So we understand that people are moving along the Wasatch Front, and we understand that a win in northern Utah is a win in northern Utah as a region, not just specifically for one area. So it's important that I take care of my local businesses, and I'm responsible to the taxpayers here in Weber County, that we're effective both here within the county, but also as a region, because that is beneficial overall rather than just having a siloed county working alone.
What we're seeing right now is, since my role's been created and I've had the opportunity to work with all the regional players from the different counties and the different cities, a large desire for collaboration in the region, and it's been very welcoming and been very helpful for me. And I see that growing. I see Davis and Weber County working together very strongly to push a more collaborative atmosphere, and we're excited at Weber State to help support that and to grow with that and to make our region more effective in growing in a good way, in increasing the quality of life and economic prosperity.
We will pick up and continue our conversation on economic development and look at an innovative way that two counties are pooling their resources together to advance economic growth in their communities or their region. We'll be right back with the County Seat.
In a place that is beyond words, there is nothing to be said, except take your time in Bryce Canyon country.
There are meetings, and then there are gatherings. At the Davis Conference Center, we know the difference. Turn your event into something more than just another business summit. With over 70,000 square feet of flexible meeting space, state-of-the-art presentation amenities, and inspiring architecture, the Davis Conference Center is designed to deliver stellar results in a majestic setting. Take your convention to the next level. Schedule now at davisconferencecenter.com.
All the traveling that I've done over the world, I'd still rate this locale as being one of the best.
This is some of the most scenic country out there. And part of the appeal for Kanab is it's a small town. It's beautiful. People are very friendly. It's just been awe-inspiring.
You just couldn't find a nicer place to come.
Welcome back to the county seat. We're having a conversation about economic development and some new ways that counties are approaching it. Joining us for a conversation today is from Davis County, Commissioner Bob Stevenson, and we also have Commissioner Jim Harvey from neighboring Weber County joining us. You guys obviously have already shaken hands on something. Tell me about what's going on in your two counties about pooling resources for economic development.
Well, you want to go? Okay, fine. We started about 20 months ago. We realized that there were, within each county, there's about 15 cities. And we realized when big customers or big potential businesses want to come in and locate or bring employees to our area, they really don't care where they are. In fact, a lot of times they don't know what city they're in. Well, sometimes they do if the city's kind of helping them, but they don't know where the boundaries are, and they don't know where the county boundaries are a lot. A lot of times we found ourselves competing county for county or city for city, and we thought, gosh, you know, we needed a place where we could do business that was borderless. Mm-hmm. And so we went to our cities and we said, you know, we could do better in economic development, so we decided to ask the city's participation and to give us the data on all the businesses, and they know all of their businesses, all the businesses and their contacts. We collected, and with their approval and their buy-in, we collected all that data, and we sent out targeted questions dealing with what's right with where your business is. What's right with the area surrounding it, your employees, what could we do better? What do you need to do to stay here and grow? What would you need to do to give a recommendation on bringing suppliers in that maybe could help your business? What could we do to help you? You know, this has been done in other parts of the country, and they usually get about an 8 to 11% response rate. Mm-hmm. We sent out over 6,800 touches to different businesses in that collection and had a 28% response rate.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It was awesome. We got rid of the companies that had less than 10 employees, mm-hmm. where there was an owner, maybe an owner and 9 employees. So we kept just the businesses that were a little larger, because a lot of times that's where we wanted to focus on. Once we collected that data, we knew where our strengths and weaknesses were based on the answer to their question, and we really had a lot of really qualified mathematical graphs and answers to where we needed to go, and it confirmed the fact that we needed to do something regionally. We need to get rid of our borders, and so at that time we approached Davis County and we said, hey, we really think we have something here. And over the course of time, we've been able to get together and especially with Commissioner Stevenson's help and his Commissioner Elliott and Kamalu, we've been able to put together a letter of intent, and now also we've had a request for proposal that's already been sent out. We've been hand in hand with this and have had applicants come in, and then we'll be reviewing those and actually interviewing for those coming up here really pretty quick.
So if you're kind of looking at economic development regionally, you still are two counties with two different revenue streams that are looking at tax base. How do you overcome that hurdle of saying?
I think that one of the things that has to be looked at for the Davis-Weber County region is that we are two unique communities, if I can look at it that way, but there are a lot of ties. And I think if you go back in history, you learned that you can take the medical side, the old McKay Hospital, everybody between Davis and Weber County went there. You can take Weber State University, that was the education hub that everyone went to. And then the big guy on the block is Hill Air Force Base. Right. And so really, as you look at it, there has never been this competition between these two counties. They've always worked together in so many ways, and there's so many different ties that come amongst them that creates this. And it is a very unique situation that exists between us.
But people would look at this and say the traditional model for economic development is that you go out and you recruit a business, you try and bring them in, and your goal is to increase the tax base and new tax growth in your county. But now you guys are teaming up. How do you guys, do you take turns? Or?
No, well, I can answer that. One of the things, I had the great opportunity to serve as mayor of Layton City for a number of years. And one of the things that we looked at was that we would see some of these recreational type businesses come into Ogden, and they were getting the jobs over there. We saw the Station Park development with what took place, but an amazing thing was happening. Our sales tax base and our growth within our community continued to thrive. And at first we wanted to be competitive against this, but then we realized it was probably better to embrace it, because what was happening is that what was good for Ogden was good for Layton, what was good for Farmington was good for Layton, and we started to realize that, you know what, this is a region thing now. We are all becoming so urbanized that we have to be able to work together, because what takes place in one city is just going to benefit the whole. And that was kind of the attitude that we got into, was the fact that the borders can go away. We're going to be cheering for each other to try to make things work, because we'll all benefit.
And that's spot on. You realize when you get a great company like Lifetime Products or Peterson Inc. or Fresenius or so many of the great companies that are up here, the people who come in to work for there, they live all over. And so all over benefits. They may locate in a particular place, but we all benefit from that, and we benefit that from the sale of houses or when they go to the markets or get their hair done. It's really great. We share in that, and that's one of the things that's unique to Northern Utah, is we really kind of take care of ourselves, and then we don't need it. I mean, yeah, there's a border between counties, but we've been, as politicians, been too territorial, and we need to break down that wall, because when you break that and get that wall gone away with, then everybody can win more. We've been able to. The nice thing is we're looking for a company that will represent us regionally, so that when we go out on the national and global market to recruit companies, we're not specifically competing with the companies that we're already doing business with. For instance, we don't want to go take employees away from existing manufacturers, because that's not good business for us. But if we can get another business coming in, another type of business, and focus on recruiting that type, then we can then raise the standard of living. The underemployed can have other opportunities available to them right within a few miles of where they live already. And yet it still creates existing jobs and growth, which eliminates the need for any kind of additional tax.
We've gone way long on this, but I want to pick this conversation up. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back on the county seat, and we'll pick this up, because I do have some more questions on this.
Thank you.
All local products have a story of magical places, real people, and delicious recipes spanning generations. So go ahead and discover flavors you've never tasted and friends you never knew you had. Utah's own. Discover local food.
My daughter and I had just finished a run at this place called Eagle Point. It's this really cool but kind of challenging ski resort that has a real family feel to it. She was so excited because she beat me down the run. Deja vu. I saw myself as a kid out skiing my mom. It was a big moment for me. And all of a sudden it hit me. I was making the same memories for her.
Beaver County, Utah. Make it more than a vacation.
Utah has a national treasure where winding canyons stretch to the horizon, where nature forms elegant structures, and where iconic monuments of the West stand tall. Visitors around the world come to get a glimpse of southern Utah's legendary landscape and landmarks. Join them and explore San Juan County, Utah's canyon country.
Welcome back to the county seat. We're talking about two counties that have decided to pool their resources on economic development and how they both, well, the rising tide raises all ships, to use a Reagan quote. My question is how does this model apply to other communities? I mean, are you now as a unit with the two counties realizing that you will both benefit from anybody that comes in? Are you now like competing with Salt Lake County or other regions, and allows you to swim in a bigger pond?
Well, I think the answer to that would be yes, because we do want to compete. We do believe that we have to, and we also have many opportunities for companies to come in and look at our area. And this is part of the things that we're trying to do through this regional concept, is to take the communities. We have between the two counties about 30 cities, and be able to take the players and start creating regional designs as far as locations for who may have the backdrop for what may be needed by a company, so that when these companies come looking and the recruiters are looking around, that we're able to show them two county-wide areas that they can turn around and choose a place to be able to go into. And it not only just ties into that, but there's so many factors on why people land where they're at. Having the employees around is important, being able to have the education systems around, to be able to have, believe it or not, public safety. People look and want to know they're going to live in a very safe area, the communities are desirable, and also recreation. These are all these things, and we believe between the two counties we offer all that.
So a few years ago on the show we had Chuck Fluharty, who was at the Rural Summit. Strangely enough, he was talking about this very concept as a way for rural counties during the economic downturn to pool their unique strengths together and look regionally at this very concept of thinking regionally in development. And obviously that's working for you guys if you've been engaged in it for 20 months. Is this concept exportable?
I would say absolutely. We would encourage counties, other counties coming together, especially in the rural environments, and pooling their resources or ideas so that they can grow that sector, because it can all, for instance, one of the things that we do very, very well at Hill Air Force Base, they're into composites, huge composites right now. The way the military has evolved from World War I to II to the other conflicts, and to today, it's a totally different. You can speak to that. You're very involved with that, Bob.
Yes, I believe that one of the things that, first of all, we all have to look at is what's our niche. And, you know, again, going back to the base, is that there is a lot of opportunities that are coming in there. And it's not just the composites, but it's also the high tech that's going to be involved. As we've all watched phones go from hanging on the wall to the big old brick phones that we had at one time to now the smartphones that we have, it's the same thing that's happening all around, whether we're talking cars or we're talking airplanes or we're talking trucks. And this is one of the things that's happening within the military also, is that everything is advancing into this technological world. And so the opportunity for that in high-paying jobs and advancement is unreal with what's going to be happening in northern Utah. I do believe that one of the things we have to look at too, and this is part of the exporting, is that we all know the congestion and the air pollution that's taking place on the roads. And as we're able to develop these regional type locations, that means that, you know, my kids or grandkids can basically stay within the community they want to live and be able to drive 2 miles or 3 miles or maybe even ride a bike or walk to be able to get to work, instead of the traditional where everybody's been driving, you know, to Salt Lake City to work and that. And so these are things that helps our entire area, which is important, not just in Davis or Weber or Salt Lake or Utah counties, it's important throughout the entire state.
But in circling back to just to your original question, is it exportable or importable? Absolutely. The way technology, quite frankly, has changed all of us. It applies maybe at a little different degree, but it applies in the rural communities. They're doing some amazing things with how they even prepare feed for animals, how they harvest and ship crops from central and southern Utah to overseas, and it could be mining. There are so many advances in technology, and as those counties get together, I know that we're very, very good at solar, especially down in the central and southern part of the state. And they sell and export a lot of that to other places. They sell it on the grid. So we just have to evolve with things that have changed us. And you know, and at one time, the guy didn't want to give up his team of horses, but John Deere has made a great living off the guy giving up a team of horses. Not that, let me tell you, the horse pulls at a fair are the best thing you can go see, but there's still a use for the John Deere tractor. There's still a use for a composite airplane.
That's right. And I think that part of this regional concept, which is what's also good, is that it's not just going to be Davis and Weber counties trying to put this together. This is going to be 30 communities within those two counties that have to work together. And we have to be able to hold open spaces. We would love to still have farms that are there. We do not look at this as completely a build out of the two counties. This looks out as a major master planning of the two counties that's going to encompass bringing this regional development in, but still trying to keep the niche that each community has. That's very important.
Yeah, that uniqueness of each community.
And that will lead me to one more question, but we're going to sneak in one more break here before we do that. We'll be right back with the county seat.
In our world, the sun shines on high adventure, and new experiences are yours for the taking. And everything in you looking to play outside the box. Cedar City, it's time to play.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
The Utah Farm Bureau began as a collection of farmers supporting each other to raise the food we enjoy. Today, Farm Bureau membership encompasses everyone, whether ranchers, growers, or just everyday folks like you and me. Members enjoy discounts on items like vehicles and ATVs, or insurance that's very affordable. You don't have to be a farmer to join, and dues are small, but together we make a big difference in keeping our food supply local and abundant. Join Utah Farm Bureau.
Welcome back to the county seat. We're talking about a county-wide or region-wide approach to economic development. You guys have been doing this for 20 months. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome? Because I can imagine that, you know, Layton City or Far West is going to go, wait a minute, how come I have to be the one that does, you know, how do you overcome some of those obstacles?
Well, I think that, and that is because, again, it's like any time you bring 30 individuals together, which in a sense you're bringing 30 communities together, that you are going to have different opinions. And I think that is part of, as we go through this and as we try to teach and instruct, we are not trying to force anything upon anyone. We are trying to get everyone to join in with what their plan is and how can we combine everybody. So it's basically trying to say, okay, we're a family and we're going to have a family get together. We need everybody to be able to bring their part of the family together, and let's make this all tie together.
We're adding to what they have, because there are certain cities, Layton, Ogden, they have fantastic economic development programs. They haven't had the level of support from the counties that they'll have now. So this adds an additional component or a strength to what they're doing.
Are you at a point where Kaysville is willing to say, oh, okay, Layton, we'll give this up to you, and we know that we're going to get this cooperation back on landfill or some other aspect of?
I'll give you an example, and I believe this again is how all this ties in together, is that, you know, right now within Davis County there is starting to become more discussion between the communities about tying all their EMS stuff together and also their 911 systems. And these are all these things that are starting to break down these barriers that were there in the past. Why should Layton build a fire station on their southwest side if Kaysville is going to build a fire station on their northwest side? Okay. There's no reason to have them across the street from each other. So these are the things that they're looking at, and this is the beginning of how everyone's coming together and realizing the importance of that.
I think for communities, that to summarize that for you, Chad, is it's a one-win, all-win. If somebody lands and does very well, we'll all benefit from it. And that's it.
Excellent. If people have any questions, other communities, and they want to reach out, are you guys open to inquiries from other communities?
We have been doing that through the Utah Association of Counties right now.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Remember, local life is where your life happens. Be involved. Be part of the solution. We'll see you next week on the County Seat. Be sure to share this with your friends on social media.